we did get some questions during the presentation, so I'll sort of vocalize those so that everyone can hear them. And there's a couple that I can answer, and a couple hopefully that you can answer. We had some specific questions on the tools. There were a couple questions on OfficeDrop. Kim wanted to know if you can write on the documents after OfficeDrop has scanned them or after you've uploaded them. And the answer is that while within the OfficeDrop system you can annotate, you cannot actually change the PDF once it's been scanned. And then Kim also wanted to know about using OfficeDrop on a Mac. You can use the OfficeDrop online and mail-in document scanning service on the Mac, but currently we do not yet have the free scanning software, the ScanDrop software, available on the Mac yet. We're working on that. We get asked that every day. We have written it for Windows. We have not yet written it for Mac. And then Jamie wanted to know about importing a list of expense accounts into Expensify, either from Excel or QuickBooks. And I do believe that you can actually import data from you can import your chart of accounts from QuickBooks into Expensify so that you and your team can correctly categorize all the expenses. I don't know if you can do that from Excel, however. Let's see what else. Kim had wanted to know about using Expensify, and she wanted to know if it was worth it if she's already using a bookkeeper. Josh, do you have any comments on that?
Well, that's a good question, Kim, and I guess I would ask, what does worth it mean to you? Is it worth it? It's worth it if you want to create snapshots of your spending yourself. It's also worth it if you want to create expense reports to be approved by someone else. It's definitely cheaper. Expensify is free for the most part. Bookkeepers are typically not. But if you're looking for detailed analysis of your information beyond just what the numbers show, a bookkeeper is a great person to keep around because they can provide interpretation on what the numbers mean and have it make sense for your business. So I would look at Expensify more as a tool for the mechanics of managing your business finances, especially your expenses, and a bookkeeper more for their expertise on interpreting information. So there's really kind of two different purposes there.
Great, Josh. Thank you. Kim, I hope that was helpful. Jessica wanted to know if OfficeDrop is free. OfficeDrop has a 60-day free trial, which includes one scan envelope, but our recurring monthly digitization service does cost $14.95 a month for one envelope. The ScanDrop scanning software, the software that connects the scanner on your Windows machine to your Google Docs or Evernote or OfficeDrop, is free, but you'll have to use Google Docs or Evernote then because OfficeDrop storage does cost money. So Jessica, sorry, OfficeDrop is not free in the long run, but there is a no credit card required trial to hopefully entice you into the service. David has a very good question here. He's trying to understand the difference between Neat Receipts, Expensify, and Mint. Josh, can you take a stab at that?
Sure. All those three are great. Each one does something slightly different. Neat is a desktop-based solution where you have a scanner and software that lives only on your computer, where you physically scan in receipts into the Neat Receipts program, and then you have to manually make sure that the data that it's captured is correct. Once you've done that, you can then run reports, you can categorize your information. So think of it as a solution that you have to manage yourself, which is great if you want complete control over your data and your information. So if you are really concerned about security, you don't want anyone else seeing your receipts or your data, you can completely control that yourself using a tool like Neat Receipts or Neat Desk, which basically the data never leaves your control. It's never off of your computer. Expensify is if you want something more automated. Expensify connects directly with your bank to import the data about your expenses and then creates reports for you automatically. The downside is that you do give up some security and control because a third-party company they don't really see your data, but they connect to your data. So it's great for managing your expenses. It's not great for overall management of your finances. It's not really meant for that purpose, but you can definitely keep track of expenses and expense reports in Expensify in a much more automated and faster way than with something like Neat Receipts. Now, Mint.com, Mint is an online platform for managing your finances. It's really meant for personal use, not business use. And I think if you try using it for business, you'll find it quite limited as you can't run any sort of reports from it. You can see budgets and you can enter expenses, and it does it pretty automatically via connecting with your bank, but it's not very robust when it comes to the types of reports you're likely to want to run for your business. I hope that helps.
Great. Thank you, Josh. David's follow-up question is if there is some sort of a tool which distinguishes which stores require original receipts and which ones do not. I think he's asking, for return policies in particular. And unfortunately, I think the answer is probably no. I've never heard of anything like that. Josh, have you heard of any
I
sort of
wish I
automated tool?
I wish I'd heard of that, but I don't think that exists. And since there's, I mean, how many zillions of stores out there, especially small mom and pop shops, everyone has a different return policy. Um, I would say it's unlikely that a store will accept a digital copy of a receipt. So if there's something that you're questioning that you might want to return, you might want to keep that paper copy in the event that you want to return it, at least until the return period has passed.
Great, thanks, Josh. So David is asking about if we have any preferred scanner models that we recommend, because that seems to be his biggest hurdle for getting paper onto his computer. So at OfficeDrop, we we do have some pretty strong opinions, and that we're scanning a ton of paper every month. And we have some pretty high-end industrial bulk scanners that are $15,000 or $20,000 each. You probably don't want that for your home office or for your small business, but if we love the ScanSnap series here, we recommend that for individuals, home offices, or small businesses that are looking to digitize a small amount of paper every month, and that is compatible with our free Scan to the Cloud scan drop software as well. Josh, do you have any thoughts on recommended scanner models?
I would just ask yourself, when you're buying a scanner, what do you want to use it with? Do you want to use it just on your computer to capture data only locally? Do you want to use it to integrate with other online tools like ScanDrop? What's the purpose of it? And how much are you going to be scanning? I mean, at the very least, I would personally recommend a scanner that lets you put in multiple documents at the same time. The tiny, tiny scanners that let you scan in one document at a time, called sheet-fed scanners, those you'll go crazy, because once you have a document that's more than 2 pages, it takes forever to scan. But beyond that, I mean, I really like the Fujitsu ScanSnap line. I really like the Neat line of scanners. You're going to want to make sure that you check to make sure that any scanner you choose integrates with whatever other tools you might want to use them with. And not all of them integrate as well with others as some others might. So just check to make sure. But typically, if you're going to spend a few $100s on a scanner, you're likely buying a product that's of some quality.
Thank you, Josh. Kim is asking a question about. She says, "Is the cost low enough to digitize paper receipts?" I think she's asking about Expensify, which, to the best of my knowledge, you can get 2 free users per organization, and then you end up paying, I think, $5 per month or something like that.
Yeah,
Kim,
the
I
cost of
hope that.
Expensify is pretty low. You can definitely check their prices on their website, but at last I checked, I think it was still 2 users per organization for free.
Yep. And Office Drop at the low end, if you're just looking for the scanning and creation of the text searchable PDFs, is $14.95 a month. Matt wants to know, Josh, if you recommend upgrading to the paid Evernote account, or when is the free version sufficient?
Good question, and I get this question a lot actually. So here's my take on free versus paid in general. There's the whole like freemium economy right now where there's like a free tier of service, and then if you want extra features, you upgrade and you pay for those. But the way I look at it is if there's a tool that I really like, I pay for it, whether I'm going to use the additional features or not, because a couple of reasons. One, there's someone somewhere doing work to produce this thing. And I want to support them. And I also want to support the company that's making it so that they don't go out of business and this tool that I like so much doesn't go away. So that's just my personal philosophy on it. But in terms of when you're going to start running into the need to upgrade to Evernote Pro, if you're going to be sending a lot of documents that are not just basic text notes that you're creating inside of Evernote, if you're going to be sending a lot of PDFs or other types of documents or photos into Evernote, you're going to pretty quickly run up against their upload limit, which is how they separate the free from the paid tier of service. With the paid service, you can not only send in more stuff, but you can also integrate with other third-party tools. Many of the tools that play nicely with Evernote only do so at the premium level. And so if you're looking to integrate a lot of things with Evernote, which I strongly recommend, you're going to be probably looking at the premium tier. In the premium tier, I believe it's about $50 or so per year.
Thank you, Josh. So actually, we've got two questions that are pretty similar. So I'll put them together. Both Kim and Kazia were asking, do you feel comfortable mailing sensitive or confidential documents via the prepaid envelope using the U.S. Post to Office Drop? And actually, that's a question that at Office Drop we get that quite a bit. We feel great about the U.S. Postal Service, and they've done a phenomenal job for us. The envelopes themselves are this really neat material called Tyvek, which is produced by DuPont. It's tamper resistant and water resistant. So, actually, I wish I could show you what it looked like, but when I grab it and I try to pull it apart, it actually doesn't come apart. It's a pretty amazing material. And then you can spill a glass of wine on it or put it in the rain and it still stays dry. It's very impressive. But we've had very good luck with the U.S. Post. We've got a very close relationship with the head of the post office here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where we are, and they've really taken care of us and our customers. So we feel good about it. And sort of as an individual, I send my personal information, bank accounts, and everything through the mail to Office Drop every month, just to make sure it works. And before I joined Office Drop, I was actually a customer for about a year and a half, and was impressed enough to actually want to join the company. Joanna has a question about Evernote, and she's asking if Evernote offers security that will pass muster with corporate IT. Josh, do you know anything about that? I think there's something about the premium having a different security level or something, but I'm not entirely sure.
That's a really good question. The premium level, as far as I know, does offer a different level of security. Whether it would pass corporate IT, I guess, would depend on the standards of whatever company is evaluating it. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that would really be up to your IT person to determine whether Evernote security passes muster. So I don't know is the answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Sorry, we don't have the answer on it. The other question is, would you recommend it for collaborating on visual documents? In other words, documents that are going to be printed eventually. And the one thing I would worry about that would be that print material tend to be very large files, and you may blow up your Evernote monthly upload limit if you're putting large documents or large files like that into Evernote. So that may not be the best way to collaborate on print documents.
Yeah, what I would suggest for something like that is you use a tool that's designed specifically for collaboration or project management, which will likely have a different set of upload limits, because as Healy mentioned, graphic files, and especially ones that are being prepared for print, or video files, these files are big, and you're going to want a tool that's really designed specifically to handle those. Evernote, Office Drop, Expensify, these are all really good for more standard documents. But not graphics heavy print prep prepress documents or that sort of thing.